I never thought I'd find myself in a situation where my whole world would come crashing down in the most brutal way possible, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I was supposed to get married to Lisa last weekend. We'd been together for almost 5 years, and honestly, I thought we had a solid thing going. She's smart, beautiful, confident. At least she pretended to be, and I was proud to call her my fiancée. We had this big wedding planned, family, friends, everything supposed to be perfect. But something felt off in the weeks leading up to the wedding, and I should have paid more attention to the warning signs. Lisa's been acting weird, distant, always on her phone, sneaking around when she thought I wasn't looking. I noticed her deleting messages, hiding her phone when I came near, but I shrugged it off. I thought maybe she was just nervous, or maybe she was talking to friends. We fought a little here and there, nothing major, just the usual stresses of planning a wedding. I didn't think much of it at the time because she'd always been good at hiding her true feelings. And honestly, I was too excited too. Caught up in the idea of starting our life together. The night before the wedding was supposed to be the rehearsal dinner. That's when it all fell apart. I was sitting with my brother Dave outside on the patio, drinking a beer, trying to relax. Lisa was inside with her bridesmaids, probably bitching about something or other. Suddenly, I saw her come out with Dave, my brother, only they weren't just talking like brothers do. They were close, leaning into each other, and Lisa was laughing in that way she only does when she's really into someone. I caught a glimpse of her hand resting on his thigh, and I swear my stomach dropped. It was like I'd been punched in the gut. I didn't say anything at first, just watched, trying to process what I saw. My first thought was, that's impossible, she's not that kind of girl. But the way she was looking at him, like he was the only person in the world, made me realize I'd missed a lot. I saw the way she touched him, the way she whispered into his ear, and I saw the way he looked at her, like he was trying to hide that he was just as into her. My mind was racing, and I felt this mixture of anger, hurt, and confusion. This wasn't just a flirtation. This was something real, something she'd been hiding from me. I couldn't believe it. I was staring for a few seconds, and then I got up and just walked away without saying a word. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the scene in my head, trying to figure out if I'd misinterpreted it, if maybe I was seeing things. But deep down, I knew what I saw was real. My wife of almost 5 years, the woman I trusted with everything, was screwing my brother during my wedding rehearsal. During what should have been the happiest time of my life, I was faced with the harshest betrayal I've ever experienced. And I had no idea how to confront her or what to do next. I just knew that nothing would ever feel the same again. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a freight train. My mind was a mess. Part of me still couldn't believe what I saw, and another part was telling me I had to face it. I couldn't go through with the wedding knowing this secret, but at the same time, I didn't want to ruin everything without even giving her a chance to explain. After hours of tossing and turning, I finally decided I needed to get to the bottom of it. No more hiding, no more pretending I didn't see what I saw. I was going to confront Lisa, get some answers, though I didn't know what I wanted to hear or what I was prepared to do if she admitted it. When I went inside the house, everything felt different. The atmosphere was tense, like the walls were holding secrets I wasn't supposed to know. Lisa was getting ready with her bridesmaids, her face painted with fake happiness, but I could see the flicker of something else in her eyes, nervousness, maybe guilt. I couldn't tell exactly, but it was enough to make me angry. I pulled her aside quietly, away from everyone else, and just looked her in the eyes. Lisa, I started, my voice trembling a little. I saw you last night with Dave, at the rehearsal dinner. I saw how you were looking at him, touching him. What the hell is going on? Her face froze for a second, and then she threw her head back, laughing in that overly dramatic, bitchy way she sometimes did when she was annoyed. What are you talking about, Mike? You're imagining things. Maybe you're just insecure, or maybe you're paranoid because you're nervous about the wedding. It's not a big deal. She brushed past me, her voice dripping with condescension, like I was overreacting. I wasn't buying it, not for a second. Don't lie to me, I said firmly. I saw it, Lisa. I saw the way you were practically crawling all over him like you couldn't get enough. Tell me the truth. Are you cheating on me? Her eyes narrowed. Cheating? Please, you're making a scene over nothing. Dave and I are just friends. You think I'd do something like that at our wedding? You're crazy." She scoffed, then added, "Maybe I was just talking to him about the wedding stuff. You're overthinking everything as usual." I could feel my blood boiling. How could she be so dismissive, so cold? I knew her too well. She was a liar, a manipulator. She always played the victim, made herself out to be the innocent one. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I saw the truth in her eyes, the way she was trying to hide something. I knew she was lying, and I knew she was cheating. That whole morning, I kept questioning everything she said, watching her every move, trying to catch her in another lie. She kept acting like I was crazy, like I was overreacting. She tried to make me feel guilty, saying I was ruining her special day with my accusations. But I couldn't turn off the image of her and Dave together, so close, so damn intimate. I felt betrayed in a way I'd never experienced before, like my entire world was cracking apart. The wedding was still happening, but I no longer felt excited or happy. All I felt was rage, heartbreak, and a desperate need to find out just how deep this betrayal went. After that day, everything changed. I couldn't focus on anything else. The wedding was only hours away, but I felt like I was living in some nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Lisa was trying to put on her fake happy face, pretending everything was fine, but I saw through her. She kept giving me those little snide comments, trying to belittle me, acting like I was the one in the wrong. She kept saying I was insecure, that I was imagining things, but I knew better. I knew the truth, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, I stayed up in my room. I couldn't sleep. I kept going over everything I'd seen, trying to piece it together. Why was she doing this? How long had it been going on? Was it just a one-time thing, or had they been sneaking around for months? The questions spun in my head, but the one thing I knew was that I couldn't ignore the evidence. I had to confront her again, but this time I wanted to hear her admit it. I needed her to tell me the truth, no matter how much it hurt. I waited until she was in her room, getting ready for bed, and I knocked softly on her door. When she opened it, her face looked annoyed, like I was bothering her at a bad time. "What do you want, Mike?" she snapped. "I want to hear you." "Say it," I said, voice low but steady. "Are you cheating on me with Dave? Be honest now. I saw everything last night. I saw how you looked at him, how you touched him. Don't lie to me anymore." She sighed heavily, rolling her eyes. "God, you're such an insecure little bitch. Yeah, I messed around with your brother. Big deal. It's not like I love him or anything. I just needed some excitement, you know. You've been so dull lately, and honestly, I never thought you'd find out. I was planning to tell you after the wedding, but I guess that's not happening now, huh?" Hearing those words, I felt like I'd been hit with a sledgehammer. My stomach sank, my chest tight. I couldn't breathe. My wife, my supposed soulmate, just admitted to cheating on me with my brother. During our wedding rehearsal dinner, she didn't even seem sorry, just annoyed that I'd caught her. The rage surged through me, hot and uncontrollable. I didn't know whether to scream or to cry. Instead, I just looked at her and said, "You're a bitch, Lisa. I don't know how I ever trusted you. I don't think I can stay married to someone like you, not after this." I turned around and walked out, leaving her standing there, sneering in her fake little world. That night I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything she said, everything she did. How she lied, how she cheated, how she played me for a fool. I felt so empty, like the ground had been pulled out from under my feet. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. Furious at her for cheating, furious at Dave for being such a bastard, furious at myself for ever believing this could work. I knew I couldn't stay silent, but I also didn't know what to do next. I just knew that I was done trusting anyone in that moment. My world had been shattered, and I was left standing in the ruins, trying to gather what was left of myself. The morning after I confronted Lisa, I felt like I'd been run over by a truck. My mind was racing, and I kept going over the same questions. What now? Do I still call off the wedding? Do I stay and try to fix this, or do I just cut my losses and walk away? Honestly, I was so mad, so hurt, and so confused that I couldn't think straight. I knew I needed to get out of there, clear my head, and figure out my next move. But I also knew I couldn't go on pretending everything was okay, not after what she admitted to. I decided to call my best friend Mark, who's always been the voice of reason in my life. I told him everything. about what I saw, her lies, her confession. He was furious, and he told me I shouldn't even think twice about ending it, that if she did that to me, she didn't deserve a second chance, that maybe I should just walk away and start over. But part of me was still holding on to some hope, some idea that maybe, just maybe, there was a way to fix this mess. I didn't want to believe that everything was over. I loved her, or at least I thought I did. While I was talking to Mark, Lisa was trying to act normal, pretending like she didn't just stomp all over my heart. She kept walking around, acting like everything was fine, like she hadn't just admitted to screwing my brother during our wedding rehearsal dinner. It made me sick. I saw her trying to put on her fake smile, and it made me realize how good she was at hiding her true colors. That was it. I couldn't stay there anymore. I told Mark I'd call him back later and decided to leave the house before I did something I'd regret. As I packed a bag, I felt this strange mixture of relief and despair. I was finally taking control of my life, but at the same time I was losing everything I ever wanted. My future, my trust, my sense of security, all gone in a matter of days. I headed out to a nearby hotel to get some space, to breathe and think about what I was going to do next. I knew I couldn't stay married to her, not after what she'd done. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't look at her the same way anymore. The betrayal was too deep. That night I sat alone in that hotel room, staring at the ceiling, trying to process the betrayal. I felt the cold reality sinking in. Nothing would ever be the same again. I was angry at her for lying, angry at Dave for being such a scumbag, and angry at myself for ever trusting her in the first place. I kept telling myself that I deserved better, that I had to get out of this toxic mess. But underneath all that anger was a deep sadness, a feeling that I'd lost a part of myself, that I'd been blind for too long. I kept asking myself if I could ever forgive her, if I could ever trust again. And honestly, I didn't have an answer. All I knew was that I had to do what was right for me, even if it meant ending everything we'd built together. Days turned into a week, and I stayed in that hotel, trying to sort out my feelings. I kept replaying everything, her lies, her cheating, the way she dismissed me like I was nothing. I knew I couldn't go back to her, not after she admitted to screwing my brother during my wedding rehearsal dinner. That was the worst kind of betrayal. But part of me still wondered if there was any way to salvage what was left, or if I should just cut ties completely. I finally decided I needed to confront my brother, Dave. I couldn't let this go, not without hearing his side, if you could call it that. I didn't want to believe he was just as much of a scumbag as Lisa made him out to be, but deep down I knew. I knew they'd been cheating for longer than I thought, and I needed to hear him admit it. The truth had to come out, even if it burned everything down. So I called him. No greeting, no niceties. I just got straight to the point. Dave, I want to know everything. Did you really sleep with Lisa? How long has this been going on? There was a pause, then he finally spoke. Look, Mike, I didn't mean for it to go this far. She's crazy, man. She's been lying to you about everything. She's manipulative, always has been. Yeah, we messed around a few times, but it's not like it meant anything. We were just bored, you know. It's not a big deal, just a stupid mistake. Hearing him say that, I felt a wave of rage I'd never experienced before. How dare he dismiss it like that? How dare he downplay what they did? I wanted to punch something, scream at him, but I just kept my voice steady. You think it's not a big deal? You screwed my wife during our rehearsal dinner and you call it just a mistake. You're a piece of shit, Dave, and I swear to God if I find out you're lying about anything else, I'll make your life hell. He tried to apologize, tried to make excuses, but I had no patience left. I hung up, feeling emptier than I had in days. I'd uncovered the truth, and it was worse than I imagined. My wife was a manipulative liar who cheated on me with my own brother, and they'd been lying to me for months. I felt disgusted with both of them, but also with myself. How did I miss all this? How did I not see the signs? Every instinct told me that I needed to cut them both out of my life completely. That's when I realized I had to make a choice. I couldn't stay with someone who had lied and cheated so blatantly. I couldn't trust her again, not after she'd shown her true colors. I decided I was done. I called a lawyer, started looking into divorce options. I knew I needed to get away from this toxic mess for my own sanity. I felt like I was finally waking up from a nightmare, but the damage was done. Trust was broken, and I didn't think I could ever rebuild it. The pain was raw, but I also knew that I had to move on, no matter how much it hurt. I had to find a way to start over, even if everything else seemed lost. In the days that followed, I threw myself into packing up everything that reminded me of her. Photos, gifts, anything that connected me to the lies she'd built her life on. Every piece of her presence in my place felt like a slap in the face. I wasn't just ending a marriage, I was trying to reclaim myself from the betrayal, the lies, the deception. It was ugly, painful work, but I knew I couldn't go back, not after what I'd learned. Trust, once shattered this badly, is almost impossible to piece back together. I moved out into a new apartment, a small place on the other side of town. Somewhere I could breathe without the weight of her lies hanging over me. I spent a lot of nights alone, just thinking about what had happened, about how I'd been blinded for so long. It's funny how you think you know someone, how you think you're building a future, and then everything just falls apart in a matter of days. I kept asking myself how I missed the signs, how I never saw her for who she really was. But then I realized it didn't matter anymore. What mattered was that I was alive, and I was free from that toxic, manipulative relationship. I've learned a lot through this nightmare. I've learned that trust isn't something you just give away. It's something you earn, and once it's gone, it's almost impossible to get back. I learned that some people are just better at lying than others, and that betrayal can come from the people you least expect, people you love. Most importantly, I learned that I am stronger than I thought. I survived a betrayal that would have destroyed most people, and I came out the other side knowing I can rebuild my life on my own terms. Now I focus on myself. I go out, meet new people, do things I enjoy. It's not easy. I still get flashbacks, still get angry sometimes, and I know there will always be scars. But I also know I won't let this define me. I won't let her or him take any more from me. I'll heal in time. I've realized that sometimes the only way forward is to cut out everything that's toxic, no matter how hard it is. So here's what I want to say to anyone who's going through something similar. Trust your gut. Don't ignore the signs, even if it hurts. And when you finally realize the truth, don't be afraid to walk away, because you deserve better. You deserve honesty, loyalty, and someone who truly cares. Never settle for less. It's not easy and it'll hurt like hell, but in the end, you'll come out stronger. I did. And I'm finally starting to believe that life after betrayal is possible, better even.